Some of the biggest challenges we face we're going to explore in this video today. I've had to conquer all of these challenges. They're incredibly difficult if you don't know what you're doing, but I'm hoping that this will shed some light on some of these things because I'm certain that you're dealing with something on my list here. And these are the things, this is really like what kills businesses. It's what stops you from building momentum to get to that next level. So the first thing that I'll talk about is cash flow challenges. One of the things that can be complicated if you allow it to be complicated is just this idea of cash flow. You want to think of it like a river. Like there's constantly water flowing, right? When it comes to cash flow, we're just talking about water has to continue to flow in and flow out for this business to stay healthy. So it flows in and flows out. When you're looking at the cash flow in your business, think of it like a profit and loss statement. There's cash coming in, there's cash coming out. You hope that there's something left over, right? You brought enough in versus what went out, that there's something left over, and that's going to be your net profit. As your business acquires assets, think of that like a storage pond. There's a pond that's sitting over here, and maybe you're putting fish, like the money is the fish. You're stocking this pond, right? So every time you buy an asset, it's going to go on your balance sheet. So think of it like that. But without cash flow, there's not going to be a bunch of assets that are going to be created within your company. So you have to have cash flow, which means you got to have steady sales, and you got to have a handle on the expenses, on how much goes out. So there's numerous ways to completely change the dynamic of the cash flow coming in and the cash flow going out that I could show you and share with you if you and I was to do a one-on-one consultation, for instance, and you open and honest and you wanted to talk about these things. For me, I had such a cash flow challenge for so many years in my company that I would gladly let anybody look and see. Like, I'm an open book. You can just see what's going on. Tell me what I need to do, right? So that's one of the things in order to shift in our business to escape some of these challenges is we got to become coachable. Like if you're not coachable, if you just think you have it all figured out, but yet you're not getting the results, that's a problem. It's going to keep you stuck if you don't get past it and get over it. The next thing is just lack of business acumen, right? These are business killers, by the way. Like if you don't fix these things, they'll really hurt your business. I got a back scratcher here just to give you an example too, because the consequences of not fixing things in your business go far deeper than just your business, right? Because people talk about balance, balancing your life. And some people say that's just a pipe dream. If you want to build a business, you can't have balance. And it's simply not true. You don't have to call it balance. You could call it something else. You could call it integration, like you're integrating your personal life with your business life. But the idea of balance is a real, like you can call it what you want, but you got to have some of it if you've got a family. So think of this, like here you are. Every time you go over here and spend time in your business, then this is being left alone, right? All your time's here. So if this was your family and your personal life, you're not spending time on here as long as you're here spending time in the business. And then what happens typically with a lot of business owners is this starts going to shit. Once this goes to shit, you're like, holy shit, let me run over here. Well, now you're spending time over here, and now the business might be not doing what it should be doing. So then you run back over here, and it's just this balancing act, right? So during the growth phases of your business, you're going to spend a lot of time on your business, but you're not going to completely neglect everything on the rest of your life. You've got to come spend some time over here too. And it's not about quality. It's not about quantity of time over here. It's about quality. So you want to spend quality time at home with your family or with your kids. But when you're working and you're building, you're going through the building phase, A lot of your time and attention is going to be on getting this thing up and running so that it can become more sustainable. So think of it like that. You're kind of going back and forth on this teeter-totter. The goal is to build a business to where you can kind of sit right here and you can spend some time over here, and it's not going to do anything. Like, the teeter-totter kind of goes away. You can spend time over here and the business just keeps on rolling. Spend time over here and the family just keeps on rolling and everybody's happy. But until you build the business, because oftentimes when the business is struggling, it's a natural thing to go spend more time on the business, which destroys families and it destroys health in people. So increase that business acumen. Join our free training on Thursday. Join that training. I'm going to teach you some stuff about business. Inadequate pricing strategies. That was a major thing that just about put me under. Just about killed my business on multiple occasions, because here's the thing. I wasn't remaining focused on the profit. And as soon as you take your eyes off the prize, and the prize is profit, as soon as you take your eyes off that and you start adding a bunch of stuff to your company, that money has to come from somewhere. So you need to increase your sales or increase your price. And if you study any business whatsoever, increasing your price is always going to be the biggest lever, the fastest lever that you can pull, as long as nothing else changes. So you increase your pricing, what you're selling your services for, and your expenses stay the same, your payroll stays the same, then anything extra is just going to fall to your bottom line. The problem is we're trying to grow and integrate new things into our business as we start adding too many things that cost money. And when you do that, if you're not selling more or increasing your price to make up the difference, your profit is going to suffer. So several times this has to be looked at through your company. I mean, it needs to be looked at all the time, but you got to be careful of that, because if it's inadequate, it's going to cost you a lot of stress, which is going to make you want to spend more time on the business trying to figure it out, which just means that you're on that balancing act again. Poor operational procedures. One of the things that I have realized is that everything that I learned, the way I ran service calls, the way I did repairs, that was just passed down to me from somebody else. And that is the old way to operate and run service. There's a new way now, because the cost of just doing business, the cost of talent to join your organization has skyrocketed. Cost of equipment and materials has skyrocketed. So in order to keep up with that, you've got to keep up with the times. We got to be a lot more thorough and do a better job on each and every service call that we do. When you do that and you increase, and we got to get more efficient too. So as we do that and we do it effectively, then it'll turn this operational procedures actually will help you develop more profit in your company, so that more of those dollars fall to the bottom line. You get to keep more of them. You could do whatever you want with them. It could be a vacation. It could be investing back into your companies because you want to grow and take it to the next level. It's whatever you want to do, but they have to be there. They have to be there. I've talked about on older videos this fair exchange. There has to be a fair exchange. If you're trading all your time and energy and effort into your business and the payoff is not there in money, that's not a fair exchange. When it's a recipe for burnout, an absolute recipe for burnout, you'll want to quit at some point. So insufficient lead generation, that's a big one. We're going to teach you how to correct that on this training that's coming up. Book more calls, close more deals. Join that training. I'll get into that, and you'll learn from me and Coach Natalia how to overcome that. You're going to have more leads than you think. So high overhead costs relative to revenue. I just kind of covered that. We've got to always be keeping our eye on the prize, which is the profit. And then talent shortages. How do you overcome that? Well, for me, I started growing my own talent. Look at all the best businesses out there. Look at Tommy Mello's business. Look at, just think of a great big company. I guarantee there's a big company somewhere in your area, even if it's not like right next door. Those people have found that they have to grow some of their talent. Like there's a huge technician shortage. I think it's like 110,000 jobs are open for technicians. And they're not knocking down your door, coming down to see if you would give them a job. So if that's not happening, then start growing your own people. You can't just sit around and wait for the best people to come knock on your door, because what happens is 2 years pass, 3 years pass, and all of a sudden you're sitting here and you still don't have enough people to do all the work that you have. So start building your own people while you're searching for talent. Do both. So we are going to share so much in our time together on Thursday. I hope you'll be on that call. And it's completely free. Just sign up using the link below. Be sure to maybe watch this video again, guys. Like, these are the challenges that we're up against in this business, in this industry, and you can overcome this, because if you couldn't overcome them, then nobody else in your area or in different states would have any success in this business. And that is just simply not true. There's a lot of success happening, and it's the people who understand this and implement strategies and processes to overcome them that succeed. I want to help you succeed. 70% of HVAC business owners fail, according to energy.gov. There was a study that was done that says that 70% of businesses fail in the first year, and 20% go out of business every single year. And although some of those people was probably just a decision, maybe it wasn't like a financial hardship or because their marriage was on the rocks because they were spending too much time in the business, there's a lot of them that is the reason. Or they developed health issues because of all the stress. I don't want that to happen anymore. Like, this is a big mission that I'm taking on, but I want to stop. I want to lower that failure rate of HVAC business owners. So I hope that you'll help me to do that by let me help you. Like, help me help you. So I will see you guys hopefully on the book more calls, close more deals training. Until then, go make money. Boom.